How y'all doing, man?
Man, doing good, doing
All right.
good.
I'm all right,
We're ready to
man.
get started. It took us a little minute to get the B-roll, but we got it going, right?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, corny joke of the day.
All right,
Y'all
let's
ready?
hear it.
Y'all ready for this?
Let's hear it. Let's hear
What
it.
we got? What we
Okay,
got?
now, I'm just telling you, it's a corny joke. Okay.
Well, you already said it's corny, so
Okay,
you already
okay.
set it up.
Say, so, why aren't koala bears actual bears?
I don't know,
They're not
George.
big enough or what?
Because they don't meet the qualifications.
Oh my God.
All right. Welcome
Yo,
to
what's up?
Welcome. Welcome to Mad Discussions with the Fly Guys, music, art, and dance, and other life topics, man. We are here today. Just to have some fun and discuss some things that have been going on. So, Jesse, we're a part of Fly Dance Company, a professional dance company that tours and travels all over the place, right?
Right.
So, can you let the people know where they can find us?
Well, we got some upcoming shows. March 1st to the 3rd, we'll be at the Complex Center in Gillette, Wyoming. We'll be doing a couple educational shows out there.
Absolutely.
April 22nd, we'll be at the Memorial Auditorium. We'll be doing a couple concerts and a couple workshops out there as well.
Awesome.
July 10th, we'll be working with the Missouri Symphony at the Missouri Theater in Columbia, Missouri.
All right.
December
All right.
4th, we'll also be working with another symphony, the Youngstown Symphony at the Dior Performance Arts Center in Youngstown, Ohio.
All right, so make sure you guys catch us there. You know what I mean? We're gonna be on tour, so we're excited to be here. Guys, we've all been tested. For the COVID
Absolutely.
thing, so we're gonna remove
So
our
we
face
good.
mask.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Gotta
So-
stay safe.
So let's introduce ourselves and let the people know who we are. All right. So we're gonna start with Mr.
Shadow Black. I am a original Fly member. Now turned music producer for the past 20 years. So yeah.
Awesome. And to my left, I have.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jesse Magana. I am a principal dancer for the Fly Dance Company.
Awesome.
And I'm also a full-time dance instructor here in Houston.
Awesome. Weren't you with the Fly Kids back in the day too?
Yeah, man. I was actually with the Fly Kids. It was a spin-off group from the original Fly Dance Company. Basically, our artistic director, Kathy Wood, collaborated with us. I believe it was about 10 or 15 of us at the time. We were only like 9 years old in 5th grade. And she
Wow.
basically just got a group of kids and she taught them how to be professional on stage and off stage. And we had a lot of crazy adventures, and luckily we were able to learn about the performing arts at a young age.
Perfect. And I'm your host, Jorge Casco, George Casco. I've been with Fly since 1999, man. I started
Wow.
working with Fly when you were in the actual group. I remember you guys coming to our school. And we'll get into that in
Quit
a few.
telling my age, George.
Right?
It's a long time
He's 25.
ago.
He's 25.
Yeah.
25.
But I've been a member of South Fly in the early 90s, and then I was actually blessed to be able to be a part of Fly's touring group in 99 and traveled all over the world and, was able to perform with Fly. And now I'm the executive director. And Fly is also run by, we have a few directors. We have our artistic director, which y'all know if you worked with, Kathy Wood.
Kathy
So
Wood.
round of applause for Kathy.
Round of applause for
Kathy.
Kathy
Wood.
Hi.
Big shout out to
Big
Kathy
shout out
Wood.
to Miss Kathy.
Most definitely.
All
Most
right.
definitely.
And then we have directors too. We have a couple directors. We have Chris Cortez and we have Adam Quiros, our admin director and our director. These guys have put so much work into Fly, and so let's give them a big round of applause as
right.
well.
Yeah, big shout out to Chris, Adam, and Kathy.
Yes. And if you don't know, Fly Dance Company, we've been around since 1995. We blend street dance with classical music. We've been doing that for over 25 years. And we do educational shows, programs, classes. We do big concerts to where we go into theaters or we go into stadiums. Or we've been all over the place. We played in front of 20,000 to 10,000 to 5,000 to 100 people to 2 people in the library. So it goes back like that. So you remember
Yes.
all that, right?
Woo.
So let's get into it, right? So Jesse, okay. Now I want to know, not how you got into dance, but how did you get into hip hop?
into hip hop. Well, the way how I got into it was from breaking. Actually, I got influenced at a very young age into the breaking world. And, you know, of course, all the breaks have a lot to do with hip hop music, like Eric P. and Rakim, you know, and a lot. And what's the name?
Eric B. and Rakim.
Eric B. and Rakim, LL Cool J.
Cool.
You know, so breaking actually
legends
got me into the entrance through hip hop.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's been an exciting journey, and I'm excited to be here.
So you got into like hip hop through like the breaks and stuff like
Through
that.
the breaks,
Shadow, how did you get started? How did you even get into hip hop to begin with? Like, can you touch on that?
Well, hip hop. First, far as hip hop goes, just being exposed to the culture, I had to get that up to my big cousins. They were listening to like, Grandmaster Flash, who is Furious Five, you know, Curtis Blow,
Yes,
Run
sir.
DMC, you know, those acts like that.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit before my generation. Like I didn't really start getting into like hip hop until like I discovered like Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. So this is gonna be around your early 90s, you know, late 80s, you know, so that was kind of like my introduction into as far as just the culture itself.
That's what's up, man.
Nice.
And then for me, I got started the first time I ever
Yeah, George,
heard.
what about you?
Yeah. How I actually heard about it, I was in class. I think I was like, it had to be like third or fourth grade, something in elementary school for sure.
Yeah.
And one of the kids brought a tape to the class, right? And he had like a Walkman on. So for all my people, all the millennials, this is before iPods and before all that stuff, iPads and all that, MP3s,
Right.
MP4s or whatever, right? I
We
don't
had
know
a
what y'all got,
Walkman.
like the iPod 75 you got right now.
Yeah,
You
the
know what I mean?
laptops.
Right?
Dang.
So we had this as a cassette, right? And then you put it on, and you like the headphones and all that. And we were in class. He was actually passing the tape
They
around.
probably didn't know what cassette is.
They might not, right? So if they don't, that's what it is. But if you do, then you know you're in from our era. But
If you know, you know.
if you know, absolutely. So they actually, he had the tape. He passed it out to a few kids, and then it ended up in my ears. And I grew up in a house where it was just like a lot of Latin music, or like my dad was a musician, so we had music like that, but never really hip hop, right? A lot of gospel stuff, Spanish music, and worship music and stuff like that, because I grew up in the church. So when he played this music to me, I was like, "What is this?" And I think it was like, is the track called "I'm Bad"? I'm bad.
I'm bad. LL Cool J?
What's the name of that track? I
It's
forget.
bad.
Okay.
I'm bad. Yeah.
So he put that on, and it's like something happened in my head to where I was just like an explosion went off. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? It just as soon as I heard it, it had me, dude. And from there, man, it was just like one thing after another. I just wanted everything to do with hip hop. I started looking at the videos, started seeing everything, and it influenced me a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Nice, nice.
So, how did you actually start dancing?
Well, it's a funny story. Like I said, I actually got introduced into dancing through an after-school program in my fifth grade center when I was a young lad. I think I was only like 10 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And they had an after-school program where they teach you a dance routine. And at the end of the year, you showcase that dance routine in front of family, friends, coaches, students.
Wow.
And like I said,
Kind of like what you do in your programs now, right?
yeah, kind of world.
that's
It's kind of
cool.
crazy how it kind of flipped.
Yeah.
So, we eventually, we did a good job at our show, and then Fly Dance Company actually came to our school, and they did a performance there for us.
Mm-hmm.
And what really started to get the gears going was when Fly Dance Company asked the after-school program group to go up there and dance with them. And
wow.
Yeah, it was an amazing moment, because for us,
Yeah.
we're little kids, we're only 9 years old, and then to see a professional group come out and do a showcase like that, and then to invite us on there to do a freestyle with them,
Wow.
it was amazing. And I remember it was you, it was Isaac, it was Rock, and then I believe it was Javier. Yeah. And so at that time, I was just like, wow, like this is amazing to me, because y'all came in at first.
Dude, you're
and-
so young. I remember he was so little, dude. He was
Yeah.
he was little, super little,
and it's
man.
funny because I still got a picture of that, when I first met you.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was crazy because like I saw y'all four, and then I saw Kathy Wood,
Yeah.
and I was kind of confused because like at the time, you don't really see a group of young guys with with Kathy,
Yeah.
So I was like, what is going on?
She was an older lady at the time, Caucasian lady. We were a bunch of minorities, and we're performing, and of course, it's like
Young minorities.
young minorities in our preteens and stuff was Go ahead.
Yeah, and it was crazy though, because like after that, like I come to realize that Kathy was actually like the artistic director, the lady
Absolutely.
who was in charge of putting the creativity into the pieces and choreography. Because I remember y'all did a piece where y'all were in tuxedo coats.
Yeah.
It was called Out of Context.
That's
Out of
the piece.
Context.
Remember Shadow? Like that,
Yes.
y'all came up with that piece.
Yes, yes.
And actually, it was at the time it was just like the tailcoat.
Yeah,
coat
yeah.
tail.
The long tail cut, the long tail tuxedo.
Hey, how were y'all dressed back then? What were y'all wearing back then?
If I remember correctly, I believe we may have had on khaki pants with the long tuxedo coattail
Yeah.
coats with the long tails.
Yeah.
And I believe we just had on different color shirt.
Yeah, like I think it was like a purple, red,
yeah,
different color shirt,
different
like
color.
and then like baggy pants though.
Baggy
Because I know
ca-
everything's
yeah.
tight now, right? The
Yes.
clothes, and
Everything's
stuff.
fitted.
Yeah,
Oh,
everything's real
man.
fit. But back then, Shadow, right? It was like double XL, triple XL.
Man, we try to find the biggest clothes that you can find. I mean, we're like at this time we were like in our late teens, early
Yeah.
20s. We're like probably like 30 waist. No,
What year is it though? What year is this?
This is what 93, 94.
93, that's what's up.
So we're probably
Yeah.
all like 28, 30 waist, 32 waist at the most. But
Yeah,
we're buying
wow.
pants at 40s, and I mean
Yeah.
as huge as we can, bro.
It's
Those
funny
times,
how that evolved though. So you're seeing that same piece, right?
Yeah, so I'm
So-
seeing that same piece, and I'm just like, wow, like I never thought in my mind that I would see like hip hop dancers dancing to classical music, because that was what was really like different. Because usually, you see a group of hip hop dancers come in, and it's hip hop music that they're dancing to, but y'all actually put a twist to it, and y'all were dancing to classical music.
Yeah.
And so, to be able to see that at a young age is mind blowing, you could say.
Absolutely. How did you start dancing?
man,
Shadow,
honestly,
how did you start dancing?
honestly, brother, I was such an introvert,
Yeah.
and real to myself, kind of quiet. But then in 1983, when I saw Michael Jackson's Thriller,
Oh man.
I knew from that moment I wanted to be an entertainer.
Yeah.
So
Was it the video? Or how was it just like? What did you hear the song, or was it the video that
It was
got
the
you?
video.
The video.
It was the video. I was a huge Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah.
And that right there, that captured me. That was the first time I seen Michael Jackson. I was hooked.
Yeah.
And I seen the way he moved. I saw the way he danced. I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And so at that moment right there, I became a dancer. Even though I had two left
Yeah.
feet at that time at 8 years old.
That was your introduction to hip
That
hop.
was it was my introduction into dance.
To dance, excuse
Right.
me. Yeah.
So
To dance, absolutely. For me,
what about you, George?
yeah. What was the first time I saw? Okay, you know what? The first time I saw dance like in front of me was at Venice Beach when I was born in California, right? And in Los Angeles, California, and we used to West Side, right? And we used to we used to ride our bikes and go down to Venice Beach, right? And we would be all over the city, right? Just riding around. And we would end up in Venice Beach, and then there would be a bunch of dudes there, like, posing and being all swole, lifting weights, right? And then there was like street performers, like, jugglers, or, people telling jokes or whatever, working the crowd,
Yeah.
the Monty thing,
Oh,
with the cars and
yeah.
stuff, people getting, doing their thing like that, And then I remember seeing a bunch of dancers, right? I saw like a group of dancers, and we kind of just gravitated to that side of the area where they were performing, but we, in my mind, it still didn't click, right? But we would just hang out there, and they would give us a quarter to flip the tape. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as their tape would run out, they'd be talking, and like, hey, flip the tape, We flip the tape, and we would just sit there for a few hours and just, collect the quarters.
Collect quarters.
And then go and give us something to eat, me and my
Yeah.
two little buddies and stuff, And that was my first introduction to the dance itself,
Right.
But then I actually ended up moving from LA to Houston to the north side. And then ended up in Spring Branch, and at the school, it was actually, the school was there, and something had happened at our apartments, the apartments that I actually moved into at the time, and somehow they pulled everybody from these apartments. I don't even know if this is legal or not, but they pulled everybody out, and they put us up in the lineup, and they took pictures of all of us, and they looked at us to see if we had tattoos or whatever, And then they asked us all these questions like, what do you know about what's happening over here? Something had went down, So it was a pretty serious matter.
Wow.
Something went down at the apartments, and they wanted to find out what it was. But I found out that these guys that were there from the apartments, half of them were kind of like sketchy, and then the other half were like, it kind of looked cool, you know. So I went to lunch and I saw them actually breakdancing, you know, or b-boying, you know what I mean, and dancing and stuff, you know, and that was kind of cool. And then from there, I was just like, I got to know the guys, and you know, and that's kind of my introduction to the actual dance itself, you know.
Nice.
That's cool. Yeah.
So, Shadow, how did you even get involved with Fly? How did that happen?
I don't know. I mean, you guys know I was in the military, but for people that
Let
don't
the
know,
viewers know.
yeah.
You know?
So for people that don't know, I was in the Navy. So when I came back, I was done with.
How long were you in the Navy?
Oh, just 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, just
Cool.
a couple years. So after I got back, I found out that Coro had gotten with had met Kathy and they were practicing at her.
And what is
space.
Coro for our listeners that don't know? They don't know.
Coro is pretty much the prelude to Fly Dance Company. Coro, Kathy discovered Coro at the Westheimer. It was the Westheimer Arts
Now,
Festival.
were y'all called Coro when she met y'all, or did she help?
Yes, we was Coro.
You were ready. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So.
And at the Westheimer Street Festival.
Westheimer
right?
Street Festival.
Cool.
Yeah. So we started practicing at her space and everything, and I can't remember how the concept for Fly even came up. I just remember we went from Coro, and next thing you know, we're performing classical pieces.
Yeah.
We're Fly Dance Group, and we're performing at the Jewish Community Center.
Awesome.
So
I think you said. I think I've heard you in the interviews and stuff. I heard you say like, you guys were Coro, and then some of the guys kind of moved on and wanted to kind of go their way, do their thing, and then a few of the guys that actually wanted to continue the classical stuff. They kind of, and then you were part of that group.
Yes. So there was a couple guys that kind of wanted to go to and do their own thing, and we decided to stick it out with Kathy and continue because it was interesting. It was something different, and we were getting a lot of notoriety for it. So. And and I was like, dang, this could be pretty cool.
That's pretty nice. That's what's up. So you touched on a little bit, right? As far as how you saw Fly.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was during an after-school program. But then fast forward 5 years later, I'm in high school and stuff, and I actually get a phone call from you. And you actually were calling to find out if I was still dancing, if I was still involved with the hip-hop scene. And at the time, I was, I was like 15, 16 years old. And I was just training with my crew. We were called Supreme Styles Crew, and we would
you still dance with those guys?
I still dance with the guys, but we kind of all split ways now.
Okay.
Everybody's doing their own thing. I think I'm the only one that really stuck with it. But professionally wise, like dancing and doing like shows and stuff. But we're still family. We still talk and everything. We still hang out. We still session every now and then.
Isn't that cool? Because like that creates a brotherhood right there.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean?
It's like
for
a family.
Yes.
Like dance brought us together. You're the first generation, second. You're I think you're like the third, fourth generation now.
Like even my
what I mean?
brothers, man. Like we're like, I still talk to those guys, and we're over 20 years, of relationships and friendships, and we don't talk every day.
Yeah.
But we still call and pick up the phone and start shooting shooting the Jones with each other like it was just yesterday.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we don't miss a beat.
So you were saying?
Oh yes. So I was saying. So you hit me up randomly, and you're like, "Hey man,
what'd you think when I hit you up, man?"
I was just random. I was like, "Well, first I didn't recognize the number, so I was like, who's this?" So I answered, and it was you. And we caught up, and I remember you asking me, "Hey, we were launching Fly Dance Company again.
Yeah.
I want to extend an invitation out for you to come to our rehearsal."
Yeah.
And then I remember at the time the people that were in the group was Rock All Day crew. You had a lot of the rad guys in there, and I remember them because we used to bat all the time, and I used to see them all the time at YA. And I was like, man, these guys are good, man.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
If they got rad crew with them, like they must be like, it must be something really, really good. So I remember the first place we were rehearsing at was at Red Door.
Yeah.
And that was a few years back.
That was like 2014 at the end of 2013.
Yeah,
dude.
it was around there. And then we actually jumped different studios. We did a Red Door, and then we did the Silos.
We did the Silos for a while. And then we had to get out of there because it was too loud. And then we ended up in Spring Branch at the Fly Academy. And then from the Fly Academy, I don't know what happened from there.
Oh, we started rehearsing at So Real.
So Real.
So we've been a little bit
from
everywhere.
So Real, we went to the Rad Academy. And then now you were over at the Morales at the hall right here on Canal. And they've been so gracious to allow us to rehearse, and get ready for these shows that we got coming up. and they've been so gracious to allow us to actually have this actual podcast here. So
shout
big
out to
round of
them.
applause. Round of applause. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's one of our
Most
sponsors. You know, they
definitely.
sponsored us with the
Yeah, so
place.
thank you so much for that. For allowing us to be here. And so that was your initial.
Yeah, man. And then I remember, like, it was kind of like riding a bike. You know what I mean? I haven't talked to Kathy or you in like 5 years.
Yeah.
But it felt good, just to reconnect with everyone and to know that, we were on the same page. And, from there, it's kind of like it just took off. Flight took off. We did tours in Germany. We did tours in Montenegro.
Man.
We did tours here in the U.S. So it was a big blessing to be a part of that,
Remind me, I'm gonna come back to that. Okay, remind me to touch on those tours again. So, Shadow, what side of town are you from?
North side.
North side.
North side. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, we're pretty much from all over, man. We're mostly living on the north side. We're from Houston.
Yeah. And you, Jesse, what side of town you
I'm
from?
from the southeast side of Houston, over there by Almeida Mall.
Almeida Mall.
Yeah, in Edgebrook and all that.
All
Yeah.
right.
What about you, George?
I am from, like I mentioned earlier, I'm from. When I came from LA, I moved to the north side, 59th North and Cross Timbers. And it's a pretty rough area on that side.
What?
So we were trying to get out of there. My dad, we stacked up our chips or some money, and we ended up in Spring Branch, right? But Spring Branch sounds good, bro, but it's really
Thinking about
not.
springs and branches.
Yeah,
and
it
things
sounds-
it sounds like the place to be. It sounds like a really
sounds
nice
like-
Yeah,
neighborhood.
but guess what? All the branches were broken,
I already
and all
know.
all the springs were dry, bro. Like,
Oh,
it was
man.
like it was straight. I'm talking about at that time. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, but don't fact check it. I guess fact check it. But in the early 2000s and 99 to 2000s, Spring Branch had 25% or 26%. It was a higher crime rate than any place in the city. So you go anywhere all over the city of Houston, at that time we had like the most gang violence and all kinds of stuff, And there was gangs all over the city of Houston, from the north to the south to the east to the west. But at that time, I know Spring Branch was pretty bad. And so that's where I'm from, So I represent Spring Branch. I'm super proud to be from there, just because we don't get a lot of love. We don't get a lot of shout outs in the music and stuff, you know what I mean?
It's definitely true.
Absolutely, But we're like the Yonkers of New York,
Right.
We're like the Yonkers of Texas. So if you don't know what Yonkers is a suburb outside of New York that DMX is from. DMX is a music artist. He's amazing, but he comes from a rough background. And you have the 5 boroughs, you have all the 5 boroughs of New York, and you have
Yonkers.
But Yonkers is just as tough as any of them. So you have the north side, the south side, southwest. You have 5th Ward, you have 3rd Ward, you have all these hoods in Spring Branch, which are really tough. But Spring Branch is also, one of those hoods that it'll be, mansions on one street, and next thing you know, like these rundown apartments on the next street, and then it's like, so it's if we're trying to paint a picture to our listeners, our audio listeners, we come from different backgrounds, from the north to the south to the northwest, so we represent everybody in the city. Now, Jesse, what we've been wondering. Now, Shadow, okay, and we were discussing about this earlier,
Yeah,
right?
we were.
I know you want to know.
I
right?
want to know for sure.
Please paint a picture of what Houston was when you were coming up.
Oh man, hip hop during my time. So we're talking 93. The early 90s, the
How
mid
were
90s.
you in that
How old
era?
was I?
Yeah.
I had to be about 18, 19 during that time. Right at the end of my high school years. I just remember. Can't forget the baggy clothes. It's the total exact,
Absolutely, right?
the total exact opposite of today's
Now, how
era.
baggy was it? Like,
How baggy?
yeah. 'Cause I remember. I just want you to tell them, because it was like,
man.
if you were this waist, what were you actually wearing?
Okay, me, I was probably at that time like a 30, 32 waist.
Uh-huh.
I would go buy clothes that were like at least 10 times.
Oh, Lord.
10 sizes larger. So we're talking like 40,
Wow.
44s.
What would you do? Like tie a rope or a belt or what?
It
would you do?
was
Extension
just,
cord or
just a
what?
belt. We run a belt. In the back, for the back of our pants,
Uh-huh.
we would put like
Clothespin.
clothespins.
I told you.
For the
Yeah.
clothespins for the back of the tennis to keep our pants from dragging.
Yeah.
So and we were actually able to to maneuver and dance like that, man.
remember.
It's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, I
you
remember
know,
watching
it didn't
you.
even feel right if we had on anything that was too tight. You know,
And you probably could like I don't know if you were like this. Like if I was dressed a certain way or I didn't have if I didn't have a glove or a certain shoe or a certain hat, I didn't
you
feel.
weren't feeling it.
I didn't feel
You
it.
didn't feel it.
You know what I
You
mean?
already know.
That's silly, man.
So outside of that was the style of the time, the bagginess. But I just remember originality and creativity like really being at the forefront at all time. I mean, you probably get beat up, trying to copy someone or bite somebody else's style.
No, that
For
was
anybody that
serious.
know what biting is, that is a very old school term. It still feels fresh to me, but it was like just yesterday. But biting means to copy somebody else's style, you know what I'm saying, or technique. So back then you had to really be original. You couldn't sound like anybody else. But nowadays you listen, like it's hard to tell who is who, or if you're watching somebody dance, it's like hard to tell. Like like dang, I've seen that 10, 15 other times. Like where's the originality at? So it was just a great time for originality and creativity.
Nice.
What about you, man? How was it, Jesse, during your come up, your time?
Honestly, the three things I remember from the hip hop scene and the breaking battles was three things. The first one was, like you said, originality, being confidence, and then the third one was being fresh.
Yes.
And honestly, like I remember whenever I'd go to battles, like everybody was dressed fresh, like from the sneakers.
What does fresh mean to the people that don't know?
Fresh means to look, how do I say, snazzy. You know what I mean? To look well
Look like
well
a cool-
dressed.
That's
Cool
what they
whippersnapper.
say today. They call it. You gotta have that drip.
Yeah,
Drip. You gotta have that
Drip.
sauce.
That's
gotta have
that
that
drip.
sauce.
That sauce.
Right.
And
So you want to look put together and trendy, or for whatever the style is, at that time, in the 50s or whatever, it was like the poodle skirts,
Yeah,
right?
right.
In the
Yeah.
70s, it was like the hippie stuff.
The
In the
bell
90s, it was the
bottoms,
baggy.
yeah.
And the early 2000s, it was still a little baggy, and then the now is the super fitted stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And whenever I was coming up in the hip hop scene, it kind of transformed from the baggy to more fitted style. Like it was more like I'd say like some people were wearing like loose jeans, and they would wear, of course, the Nikes or the Adidas. Also the track suits. That never went away.
No.
Yeah.
The tracksuits never went away. And it's kind of crazy because
The
that
Adidas jumpsuit.
yeah, the Adidas jumpsuit as well too.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy because that same mindset kind of transferred over to like the parties we would go to. Me and my buddies, if we weren't at practice or if we weren't at battles, we'd be at quinceañeras, which was a big thing at the time because
What is a quinceañera?
a quinceañera is basically in a Hispanic culture is a teenager that's about to be a woman. You know what I mean? So it's their 15th birthday, and they have a big celebration. And at the time, we were in high school. So for us, there was a quinceañera every single Saturday, every single Sunday, every Friday.
Yep.
So it's basically it's like a sweet 16.
It's like a sweet
So it's
16.
like a girl turning into a woman and coming into womanhood and stuff like that. So they celebrate that.
It's almost as big as a wedding.
Almost
Yeah.
as big
They
as
spend
Almost as
they
big.
spend almost as much money on the quinceañera as they do as a wedding.
Yeah, they do.
It's crazy.
So this is what you're doing at that time.
Yeah,
You're
at that
doing a lot of
time.
quinceañeras, a lot of sweet 16s.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so like I said, me and the guys, if we weren't battling, we were at quinces. And a lot of the times, I won't say have to say like 95% of the time, we weren't invited to the quinces. Like at all. Like I'm telling you, this is what we would do. We would literally call each other like around 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Hey bro, what you wearing? What you wearing? This and that. Man, I remember, bro, I would iron my pants. They'd have that stiff little line on the pants.
Man, what? The
Yeah,
starchy,
the starch,
archy.
That's stay flow.
I'd have the polo shoes.
Okay, hold on. Time out. For people that don't know, you're listening to this. Me and Shadow getting excited here because when we
It's
were
a
young,
Texas thing, man. It's a
when we were
southern
young
thing.
in the South,
Yeah.
tell them about that Stay Flow. What is Stay Flow?
Stay Flow is concentrated starch.
Oh,
Not
man.
regular starch.
Not regular starch. This is so concentrated. You have to put it in. You have to mix it 1 part Stay Flow with 1 part water. And I'm telling you, you spray this on your jeans, they're gonna stand up in a corner by themselves.
Oh man.
Straight up. Am I lying?
No, you're not
no,
lying.
that's
And
true.
I actually had a friend, and I'm gonna go back in the day. His name was his name's Smokey, right? And he was the king of starch. And he would take his pants off and literally put them like that, and they would stand
They
up
would
like a
stand up.
mannequin. You know.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. It was
Stay float.
Yeah. So go ahead. So you're ironing your clothes.
Yeah,
you
man. So
start
I'm
on.
ironing my clothes, and it's funny because we're only 15 years old.
Yeah.
Of course, we overused the cologne. You know, we had on we
What
overused.
type of color were you
I
using?
remember, man, to be honest, bro.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but I
Yeah.
remember I was like, man, what's the one my dad uses? So I just go into my dad's little, you know.
But wearing that brute,
Oh.
that Stinson, that Paco Rabanne.
I don't know what it was, but it smelled good. So I was like, hey, man.
It's oil and water and
some soap.
some Crisco oil.
It's a placebo cologne.
right?
Oh man, but like I said, it's
like
I'm gonna get all
mechanic
the,
nails.
I'm gonna get all the ladies today.
for real. And sometimes it would hurt because you'd get a fresh cut and you put it on there, man, that thing would burn. You'd be coming into the quince with a red mark.
peroxide and water.
For real, man. Little
Alcohol.
Band-Aid on there and stuff, man.
Bro, that's crazy.
But it's crazy because,
Yeah.
like I said, we were never invited.
Yeah.
We would always say the key words, you know, we're the dancers. And then as soon as we would say that, we'd all
Yeah.
pose up like this. So, and it's funny because we'd all be prepared for that.
Yeah.
We'd be in the car and we'd be
Yeah.
like, man, if we go in there, they're not.
B-boy
They're,
stance,
they're gonna
right?
know that we don't belong there, you know.
But how did y'all get away with it?
So that's the thing. Like the thing is, like we knew how to dance.
The pose, bro. They hit the pose,
And we
man.
would do it on cue. Like,
So how many was it? Like
it was
5?
like 6 or 5
six
of us,
of y'all.
and
Y'all
we were all dressed up, and so like I said, we would go in there, and they would know right away. Oh, these guys are not supposed to be here,
Yeah.
but they look clean.
Yeah.
They look athletic. They're fresh.
Yeah.
And so you know, it was basically like it was always like mainly a Hispanic lady, and she'd be
Yeah.
like, "Hola, who are you?" You know,
Mhm.
and then we'd be like, "Oh, we're the dancers," and we just pose up like that. and then you know the way how we would do it would
Yeah.
look legit. So she'd be like, "All right, come on in,
Yeah.
you know, go ahead, you
Y'all
know,
are
let me get
super
your plate."
confident. Like we're the dancers.
Exactly. And you know, if they were to
Yeah.
tell us to prove it, I mean, we would tell them, put on some music and we'll do it.
Hey, come on.
And from there, you know, we just took off. That's where I met a lot of my friends. You know, a lot of other B-boys would come to quinces too. You know, we
Yeah.
weren't the only guys doing it. Everybody was doing it.
Hey, what was the best part of the quince?
Man, the best part was one, you get to dance all night. You get to eat for free. And then you get to socialize, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the best. It was the best thing for us because at
Hey.
the time we're underage. We can't drink. We can't do anything. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're just having a good time.
But you know the best part for me
What was that?
was the charro beans, bro.
Hey, it was the
You
best
go to
part
An-
that
you go to
night.
Andy-
but-
You go to Andy Quinceañera, bro. Andy Sweet 16.
You got some
I'm
charro
telling
beans.
you,
Yeah.
you gonna get some fajita.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Some rice.
You get
Yeah.
some dirty rice. You're gonna get some
And some charro beans.
Some
some
charro
charro
beans.
beans, boy.
The only thing
Ooh, I
is
smell
the-
the fajitas right now.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all
only
making me
thing
hungry,
is-
man. Y'all making me hungry.
Man, I'm starving.
You
We
hear?
might need to get a fajita sponsor.
Yeah. All right, we gotta go. We gotta go eat some food.
For real.
And we'll be back. No, I'm just joking. I'm just playing.
Right. Nah, man. So that's awesome. So you would go to the quinces and you and your boys would get down and stuff, and
Yeah.
would y'all dance? And what would
We
the
would
people
dance
say?
to everything, man. Because we would not only would we dance to the breaks, but we dance to bachata, we dance to merengue, we dance to cumbia, you know. And like I said, there was a lot of people to dance with there, you know, from older tias to
Yeah.
girls our age and stuff. So
Yeah.
we were dancing with everybody, you know. We'd even make a conga line, you know.
So y'all
towards
just
that-
keeping the party going,
Exactly.
man.
We were
Y'all
the party
doing y'all's job as the
Uh-huh.
dancers.
Exactly. Oh man, it was crazy though. That was like some of the best times of my life right there with the
That's
quinces
what's up,
days.
That's dope. That's cool.
That's good, bro. That's awesome, man.
What about you, George? What's a memory you've had from like performing or you know going out to like social clubs and dancing?
I think it was the quinces. It was the originality, like you were saying, was prevalent when I was performing or when I was dancing. I would go to a lot of the battles and stuff. Like there was like a few of them called like Northside versus Southside in Houston, and then it was like Austin versus Houston. You know,
I
and
remember
then there was
those,
like
yeah.
this big jam that they used to throw like at a skating ring, like traditionals. You know what I mean? And then they would do like us coming out. We would just battle in like the local area, like in Spring Branch. You know,
Yeah.
we battle at this party or here and there. You know, but what I loved about the era was like you couldn't do what everybody else was doing. You had to have your own look, right?
Right.
But the funny thing me saying that is like we copied y'all's look. So even though we're being original and we still kind of would kind of biting your style in a
But I mean,
sense,
but that's different. Like y'all were borrowing more from the ones before y'all.
Yeah.
But then, but y'all didn't just straight bite it. You would take it and embellish on it.
Yeah.
And put your own twist on
Absolutely.
it. You know what I'm saying? And make it yours.
Yeah,
you know?
I came into the game.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I came in when I started dancing. I really wasn't, breaking first. I was more of a house dance, So, excuse me, seeing you guys, seeing you in particular, in particular. I have a story about Shadow. You want me sharing this? Is it okay if I share this?
Go ahead, George.
Okay, I'm going to make it short. So I see Shadow at a performance, right?
I've heard this before.
And I see him in a performance. He says, "What's up?" He's super cool. He went to our school, my brother's little school. My brother's school. He was performing, doing this thing, right? So then, from there, I see Fly perform first. Excuse me. I see Fly perform at Miller Outdoor Theater. So shout out to Miller Outdoor Theater. Big round of applause to them. CC Siegel, she is the executive director of Miller Outdoor Theater, and I share this story all the time. I saw Fly perform at Miller. It changed my life. It blew me away. Never in a million years did I ever think that I would be performing on that stage.
Wow.
Fly's been performing at Miller Outdoor Theater for over 20 years.
That's wow.
Yeah, that's heavy. We've had our own weekends.
We've had
our own concert.
That deserves a round of applause.
That's Kathy and Mike right there. That's Mike and Kathy's hard work.
Big shout outs to Kathy and Mike.
You know, Kathy Wood and Mike Wood, they presented us there. They put us on that stage. And Miller has always opened that door for Fly, whether we did 5-minute piece or 20-minute piece or our own night, which we did, you know, and we
absolutely.
did, you know, for 20 years we've had, you know, a great relationship with them. So I see Fly perform there. I see you at the school show, right? But in between that time, I'm a young teenager. I'm going to the teen clubs and stuff and figuring it out. We go. I see Shadow walk in. Curly hair.
I had hair. Yeah.
He had hair at the time, right? Curly hair. Had these overalls on. Had this, I think if you had a black glove on or something like that, like a cut off Mr. T glove or something, you know. He walks into place and everybody's like just breakdancing, breaking, just everybody's on the floor. They're b-boying, they're doing their thing. You know what I mean? Everybody's having a great time, and I'm just I walk into place, and I'm waiting for the house music to kick in and stuff. So I'm just kind of peeping the scene. I'm just watching and just looking. All of a sudden, I see Shadow walk in. Now Shadow, it's like a Power Ranger or a Voltron or like this dude.
You give me too much.
I'm just saying though. At the time, that's how I saw Fly, bro. Like all of y'all were like, it's like Voltron assembled. Everybody had their own thing, right? All of them. Ricky would do this. Blast would do this. Mario would do this. Raglan would do this. You know what I'm saying? You would do this. You know what I'm saying? And then I see Fly, right? Boom. Man, I knew Coro because I saw him on the news and City Under Siege back in the day. I was like, yo, this is like early 90s.
Oof.
Then I see the same group, but they're called Fly now and some different members and stuff. I'm like, yo, this is Fly. This is insane. So he comes in the club. We looking around. I'm looking around. And all of a sudden, the music changes. And here comes Shadow. He's like, it's not that he's ignoring everybody, but he's in the zone. He's doing his thing. He's doing his moves. Jumps in the air. Does this thing. All of a sudden, you see the head turning.
Oh.
Like, just like a wave of people just, like, they just stop what they're doing. And they were still dancing, but everybody stopped dancing because he started dancing. He just like this slide on his toes, on his just slide thing, and then he just like really flexible. He jumps in the air, just like a toe touch or something type of pike or some type of move, and he lands and it does something while he's like in the middle of the air and slides or something, and then the whole place goes. I'm not talking about everybody in the place, bro. It's like a warehouse, like full of like it had to be at least 500, 1,000 people in there. It was packed, dude, and everybody just jumped up, and we were just like, "What was that?" And everybody knew him, you know what I'm saying? And so he's walking through the crowd, right? He's like, hey, what's up? And he's being cool with everybody. He's nodding them and stuff. And I'm standing there. He's making his way towards me. And I'm sitting looking at this dude. I'm like, yo, he's coming my way. I don't know what to do. I'm like, oh, man, what's going on? You know what I mean? So then he's like, man, he's walking towards. He was like, man, I just seen this dude perform. And I'm seeing him at another spot. I was like, yo, he's dancing. And he's walking towards me. And he looks at me, double takes. He puts his fist out, pound it. Gives me a handshake, and he just walks off. And I was just like, I'm wearing like the same thing he's wearing. I'm wearing like the overalls. I like took my glove off, put it in my back pocket. I'm like trying to copy this dude. But he didn't say anything about it. He just looked at me. He was just like, what's up? All right, boom. And he don't remember that, you know what I'm saying? You probably don't, and it don't matter if you do.
I halfway remembered the night.
But the
I really
thing
did.
is, but you met a bunch of people that night, dude. And then it was just like, he came, and it was just like one of those moments, like I can't believe it. Yeah, I didn't wash my hand for like a week or something. You know what I'm saying? But that was like that was just an amazing time for me, man. It's just been an amazing journey, man. Just getting to know you, seeing you, how you inspired me. So we want to give you your flowers, bro. Like while you're here, you know.
I'm greatly humbled.
Yeah,
fellas.
let's give him a round of applause right now. Let's give Shadow a round of applause, man. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here, bro.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Fellas, I appreciate that, fellas. I'm greatly humbled, man. Appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Love you, brothers.
Yeah, that's honest truth, man. Let's on a more serious topic, man. You know, COVID, man. COVID's been something that is, you know, it's here.
Yeah, it's here.
You know what I mean? It's here. It's not going anywhere. You know, so we ask you to please, you know, I know the mayor's been pushing this. Wear your face mask. Wear your face mask. You know, use your spray. You know, disinfect stuff, and please make sure you follow those guidelines. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Jesse, how has COVID treated you, or how
Man.
anything you want to share?
It's kind of like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, there's been days where it's been all right. There's been heavy days where it's just like the worst. And, you know, it's been a mixture of emotions, you know. I mean, the biggest thing the biggest thing that really impacted my life was, you know, unfortunately I lost my mother because of COVID.
Condolences.
And she was actually in the hospital for 3 weeks. And 2 of those weeks she was in a coma. And the second week she actually came out of the coma. And luckily I was able to talk to her every day and be on the phone with her every day. And, you know, at that time, you know, it was really rough, you know, so those conversations were like 4 hours long, 5 hours long, you know, because at that time, you just never know.
Yeah.
You never know if she was going to make it the next day or not. Yeah. And, you know, unfortunately she didn't. But, you know, that's just how life goes. You know, it had to be that way, unfortunately. Yeah. Dance-wise, it did affect the Fly Dance company a lot. You know, a lot of our shows, you know, got postponed. We didn't really have much work. The schools and
the whole year.
Yeah, the whole year was gone.
You didn't do anything for 2020. It just got shut down.
It was pretty bad. And luckily, I was able to teach virtually. You know, I know you mentioned Chris Cortez earlier.
Absolutely, with Houston Healthy Hip Hop.
Houston Healthy Hip Hop.
Yeah.
You know, he was able to come
Let's
up.
Let's give Houston Healthy Hip Hop a round of applause.
Let's give him a big round of applause. Houston Healthy Hip Hop.
Chris Cortez with Healthy Hip Hop. They've been around for over 10 years, man. They impact schools all over the community.
And luckily, you know, I was able to work with him, and he adapted a virtual classroom for students to be able to take classes while being able to follow the CDC guidelines.
That's
and all
great.
that. I also been blessed to be able to work with Break Free Hip Hop School. They're the first hip hop school in the United States.
Shout out to Break Free, man. Yes, indeed.
Good job.
Big shout out to them. You know, we were able to teach the elements of hip hop. You know, we were able to teach breaking, DJing, graffiti art, and MCing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was kept busy with that as well. Family-wise, like I said, you know, a lot of my family members unfortunately caught COVID. Some of them, you know, they got through it. You know, my mom passed away, my uncle passed away, and then I had like a couple relatives from out of country that passed away too.
Wow.
So it's affected the family big time, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about you, George? How's COVID affected you?
First of all, our heart goes out to you. You know, I lost my mom in 2006, you know, so I know I know that pain that you're feeling right now. As far for me, man, it was a roller coaster of emotions because, you know, my uncle passed away. I lost 2 uncles.
Oh, wow.
Excuse me. I lost 2 uncles. But right before the COVID hit, my dad had gotten sick. Excuse me. He got sick, right? And he was dealing with a lot of stuff, you know. So what ended up happening, I reconnected with him right like in February, you know, like April. And then right before, so then what ended up happening is I went to go see him, got in touch with him. I didn't hear from him, and the next thing you know, I can't get a hold of him, bro. Like imagine, like I can't get a hold of my dad.
It's the worst feeling.
And he gets sick. I go see him. I'm thinking he actually has COVID. So what ended up happening is we took him to the hospital, and it turns out it wasn't COVID. He had a congestive heart failure. His kidneys failed, and he was going through the whole thing, and you know, and unfortunately he went blind because, you know, with his cataracts and everything like that. So this is happening right before COVID hits, right? And then boom, everything gets shut down. The concerts, the tours, everything that we had lined up. We had lost over 90% of all our stuff, dude. All of our performances, to where now we only have, for 21, we have four big gigs, And we went from in 2019, we did over 35 dates across the country, and over like 23 dates, I think, in overseas in Europe, and we were in about 4 countries. So we went from that to to losing everything, all the contracts. I'm talking about like big companies and sponsors that were going to be a part of Fly. We had it to the point to where we were about to start sending people to do different things. This group's going to go do that. This group's going to do this. This group's going to do that. So we needed about 15 guys, and everything just boom, boom, boom. We started losing everything. Now, we built a company for it to tour. For these last 8 years, we put in financially everything into this company to tour, and then boom, it hit. So I was thinking of the idea. I did this podcast for Only Love, which is my after-school company. I did a podcast for that, might be like 2-3 years ago. But I've been flirting with the idea of doing a podcast for the last 6 years. So this show right here, I came up with it, put it together, and from the name and this and everything, this is my baby, my idea during that COVID, during that quarantine. So I was able to come up with this concept that's going to keep us going and start this podcast. So I want to thank y'all too for believing in the podcast. Give yourselves a round of applause,
thank you
man.
for having us, man.
Yeah, right from the jump. As soon as I told you the story, man, y'all were on board. And hey, that's what it's about, man. So that was my story. My dad almost died, Luckily, I moved him in, got him back to health. I was literally like every day for the last 4 or 5 months. Like I couldn't leave his side. I was like giving him this medicine, doing everything he needed to do, like, taking him, bathing him and doing everything,
Absolutely.
man. I had to do it, And some people don't understand that, you know what I'm saying? But those of you who've been through that, some people might not understand what it is to lose a parent, you know what I'm saying? But for those of us who've been through that, and those of you out there that are going through something similar, hey, bro, I thought I was dealing with depression at the same time.
I can imagine.
You know what I mean? So it was depression, the company's going down, everything's going down, my dad's dying.
Yeah.
Now what? You know what I mean? So luckily I was able to bring it back to health, and slowly and surely, Fly's getting back to where it needs to be. I have some great partners with Chris Cortez and Adam Quiroz, who support and push, the Fly brand all the time. Kathy Wood and Mike Wood. So I have a great support system. So I thank them. Let's give them a round of applause.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Big round of applause.
Love those guys. Hey, Shadow, how was it for you, man? How was your quarantine, man, in 2020?
Man, it was 2020 was pretty rough for me, man.
Yeah.
I had lost my trucking company. I battled depression.
Yeah.
I went through a really big financial strain, and then trying to come out of that financial strain. Actually, not 2020, but 2019. I had my financial strain.
So you were going through it in 2019.
I was going through it in 2019, and then to come into 2020, it was just like, God, dog. I was starting to get my, get everything started back together, and then pandemic hit. I actually started another company, a couple of businesses during the pandemic, which are being successful. It's been up and down, but outside of business, I've lost a couple of close relatives. My oldest son lost his grandmother, which would have been my ex-wife's mother.
Yeah.
And then I just recently, this past Monday, I lost an aunt to COVID.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So COVID has done a huge number to for this year.
To us and everybody out there, our listeners, man, we just want to thank you guys for tuning in. Now, let's do this, Shadow. Since you dealt with depression, Jesse, I don't know if you've ever dealt with that, man. It's hard, man. But if you are dealing with depression, you can call the Harris Center of the Crisis Hotline. It's 24 hours a day. You can call in English or in Spanish. Call this number at 713-970-7000. 713-970-7000. and make sure you talk to somebody. And if you don't call that hotline, talk to each other. You know, talk to somebody that cares about you. Talk to get on the forum. Get online and figure out a way for people to to just have that conversation. And just know that we're going through it. We went through it. And you could come out of it. You know what I mean? Any last words that you guys want to say?
I just want to say thank you to everybody that's tuning in. We're going to have a lot of special guests coming in on this podcast.
Absolutely.
And y'all just stay tuned. We have a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody and really appreciate you guys tuning in and for all your support. So hey, keep on rocking with us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you catch Fly Dance Company on the road. If you're going to be in Wyoming, all my people from Wyoming, from Cody, from Cheyenne, from Gillette, from everywhere, all over Wyoming, at the Camplex Center, March 1st through the 3rd. Camplex Center in Gillette, Wyoming, will be doing an educational show and an evening show. April 22nd at the Memorial Auditorium in Burlington, Iowa. Where's all my Iowa people at?
Ooh,
come on, Iowa. Where you
let's
at?
go.
We need you to come out. We need you to come out and support Fly Dance Company. We're going to be performing for you live at the Memorial Auditorium in Burlington, Iowa. July 10th, Missouri Symphony, the Missouri Symphony, Missouri, Columbia, Missouri. We're coming to you. Jesse, are you ready for that show?
I'm ready. Let's go.
We've been rehearsing, getting ready. Let's give it up for the Missouri Symphony having us there. Okay, December 4th, Youngstown Symphony. We're going to be in Youngstown, Ohio, December 4th, Youngstown, Ohio. Thank you guys so much. This is Music, Art, and Dance Discussions. All right? Music, Art, and Dance Discussions. Music, Art, and Dance. Mad Discussions with the Fly Guys. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.